Tēnā koutou katoa. Growth and development, personal development, is a space that I am passionate about and have worked in for many years. And I think when we set our goals, or when we look at our career plan, we always have an end point in mind, something we want to achieve. It's almost like we've learned everything we need to learn, and then we get to this ceiling, we get to this pinnacle or the summit of the mountain. And through the work that I've done with a lot of Zen traditions, I am fascinated by this concept of the constant learner. No matter how wise you are, how much study you've done, or how many years you've been on the earth, or how experienced you are in your role, we never know it all. And yet I think for many of us there is this pressure to have all the answers, and a pressure to know it all, or to at least carve out goals and look to the future in a way where we can get to that point. And I'm going to suggest that that point doesn't exist. So there isn't a mountain that we look at and that we're climbing to the top of. It's just a continuous path that keeps going. And I think in terms of our self-awareness, collaboration, inclusivity, in terms of our own wisdom and development, having this curiosity to be a constant learner is key. Because then we're always open, we're always curious, we're more likely to ask questions and listen to what other people think when we don't suppose that we know all the answers. And yet, that's a really vulnerable place to be. That's a hard place to be, to actually say, I'm okay with not knowing all the answers, and to admitting to being a constant learner. There is a concept in Buddhism called the beginner's mind, and they often talk about it. When we're learning to meditate, you can meditate for decades, but you always need to retain this beginner's mind. And when we view everything like a beginner, we're more open to learning. And I love this concept that we never know it all, and that we're constantly learning new things, because life changes, right? And so do we. So whether that's in our roles, in our life, whether that is something, we get to 80 years of age and we've done it all, there is still this constant learning journey. And I love the phrase that one of my friends and mentors, Matt, uses. It's about improving rather than proving. And I think for me, this really distinguishes the difference between when we're trying to prove ourselves and pretend we know all the answers, or desperately do enough study so that we do know all the answers. That comes from a place where we struggle with vulnerability and we're uncomfortable not knowing. And yet if we are committed to improving all the time and knowing that we don't know all the answers, we're more likely to have this curiosity, this openness to learn. We're more likely to collaborate and ask questions of others and listen to that response, so that we are learning more. And as a result, we become collectively more wise, and yet still with a beginner's mind and this constant learning journey, because there is always more to learn. And that's okay, because that's part of being human, right? And part of growth and personal development. We never get to the summit of the mountain, but we learn a hell of a lot along the way, and this path just keeps circling round and round. And if we're approaching it from this space of improving ourselves all the time, rather than trying to prove ourselves, I think it's a much easier space to be. We can embrace the vulnerability that comes with that and retain this curiosity that exists within a beginner's mind.